Good morning, my brothers and sisters. This is the second episode of the Church of Xen. This is my personal sermon to all of our affiliates, all of our congregation here. It is 10:01 at September 19th, 2017. This is a Tuesday. This is one of the most holy days of the year. On Tuesday, we just get started in the week and we get back into our rhythms. It's Monday, kind of a little iffy, but Tuesday, I think we're starting to run strong, powering towards that Friday, so we can keep our rhythms in check and keep our keep our vibes under control. I think we'll have a great week, the rest of the week, maybe a great year, maybe a great eternity. How about we try for that, a great eternity? So, yes, last night I had a brother by the name of John. Brother John came to me. He asked me, why does the earth rotate? Why can't it just be a stable system? And I looked at John. He just a blue-collar worker. He just wanted some stability in his life. Why can't the earth just be stable? Why can't the universe just stop expanding? Why can't my dick just stop shrinking? Why can't my wife love me with the same amount that we first had? Why can't my wife stop cheating on me? Why can't she just stay where she was when we first got married? Why can't my hairline stop receding until I look like a fucking walrus with no head on my hair? Why can't life just kind of stop at the peaks and stay there? And that's the question we're wondering about. I looked at John, fat dude, bald, looks a little bit unhappy with his life. Cheeto dust on his fingers, got some mayonnaise on the corner of his lips, but he's a pleasant dude. He just wants some help. He wants some answers to this. What happened with his life? Why can't his life just stay at the peaks and not ever touch into the valleys that just seem endless? These valleys can go all the way to the depths of hell, and you might never come back from those depths, because by that time you're just so destroyed. Your ego, whatever you want to call your ego, your present moment, your thoughts are just so sadistic and negative. They turn suicidal, and then you may end up killing yourself. But that's a choice that you made. Please be very aware that what you focus on is your choice. And so we like to think that these thoughts are just coming up, but really we're choosing to focus on them. They're not just thoughts. They're thoughts that we're choosing to put our attention towards. So when John has this dilemma where he finds an issue, that there's change. That's ultimately the issue. John does not like change. He wants everything to be perfect. He wants it to be stable, but in the way that he sees fit. You see that? He wants it to be stable, not in a negative, assemblage of the parts, but in a positive assemblage. He wants it to be a perfect system for him. For him, not for everybody else, just for him. Even if his wife is unhappy, loving him and having that same consistency, he wants her to remain with the outward appearance that she's loving. He just wants all the outward appearances to be perfect. He does not care about the inward workings of it all. And so when you have someone that's completely focused on the outward, there's not much you can do. All you can say is that there's some inner workings, and that's just the way it is. If you only have the good, what can you compare it to? You need the bad to compare it to the good. It's that simple. If you have, let's say your entire life experience was a bunch of bad, but there's levels of bad, and you will find that those bads, the less bads, are the goods in your life, and the really bads are the bads. It's sort of like Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. He's in this concentration camp trying to find some way to get out of there. It's just horror around him everywhere. Pain, misery, death, torture, just horrible circumstance, and you're stuck in there. You're stuck. That's like one of the worst things the human spirit can come up with, is having like a horror, like a bad dream that you're stuck in. And that's sort of the experience that Viktor Frankl is in. And he came up with if I can remember correctly, it was a long time ago when I read this, but he figured that his experiences there, if he could survive them and could retell them, that they would benefit the rest of humanity. So he focused less on himself, but the meaning of that he was going to be the documentator, the historian of this event, the first-hand historian of this event, because for all he knows, everyone in that camp will die, and all the other camps will die. So there'd be no first-hand experiences of it, and all the history of it will be, modified. It would be told by the victors, by the Germans, because that's just how it works. If all the victims die, it'll be told by the victors. So he wanted to be one of these so-called victims that survived and became the victor, and Viktor Frankl wanted to tell the story. And so I forgot where I was going with this, but if you can focus on, if you can manage to find a way to focus on more positive aspects in your life, I think you will find life to be more enjoyable. It'll be better in every way. It'll just be better in every way. All right. So let's talk about something else here. So I had a brother named Disepicles. He came to me one day. He asked me, why is the sun green? And back in his day, the sun was green. This is during the Gothic times. There was a bunch of smog, and the sky was green. And he asked, why is the sky green? I would like it to be blue. I read in all these stories and books that I read, the sky is blue. How can I make the sky green? And this was asked to one of our, ancestoric preachers back in the day at Church of Xen. We've been around for about 5,000 years. And, this preacher said, just close your eyes. Close your eyes and imagine it. Imagine the story. You don't really need to project these stories onto reality. They're just stories. There's no problem. Is there a problem? Just keep the story in your head. With the blue skies, the green is because it's green. The green is because the current reality is green. You don't have to keep changing the current reality to fit the past reality. The reality is the reality, and that's it. So, yeah. This is a little too, I don't know, it's a little too dry. I feel like I have to talk quietly because these walls are thin as well. So, I don't know. I can't really express myself here. Or I can. I just don't want to raise my voice too much because then people will hear me. Alright. So we have a brother named Charles. And Charles was a working collar man. And he never knew what love was. He was in the coal mines from 5 to 9 every day. Actually, 9 to 5. Excuse my language. 9 to 5 every day, working in them mines, trying to get somewhere in life. And he was hollering, he was working, he was choking, but he was getting strong. That man developed a rugged mentality. He also had the muscles of a giant. He had the very muscular man, a very rugged man, mentality very stoic. And then one day it came, he met this beautiful lady. He's a very rugged man. He doesn't need much in life now. He's very just happy with his coal mines. And this woman asked, please, young sir, can you help me with my basket? And then a British lady from the Isles came in for some reason off one of the ferries, and she asked him for his help. He's got coal soot all over his face. He's covered in it, and he looks at her, and he's wondering, why would this woman ask me? I am a dirty, wretched looking of a character. Why would this lady ask me? So he says, sure, ma'am. And he takes the basket. They walk to her apartment, and she says, thank you very much, fine sir. Would you care for some food or drink? I would love to treat you. He says, sure, why not? He came from a background where you never refuse any offerings of good faith, and so he accepted the offer. He went into this lady's apartment. It was covered in artwork everywhere. There's some Van Gogh. Now, obviously, these are reproductions, but there's Van Gogh everywhere. There is, some scholarly texts like Nietzsche, some phrases on the wall, quotes. There's pictures of like greats like Albert Einstein. And this man was like, what is all of this? What is this? I've never seen anybody have their walls covered in all this stuff. And he says, ma'am, what is all this on the walls? Why are your walls not whitewashed? And she says, I got tired of the whitewashed walls. It made me very drab and depressed, and I'd like to have some things that inspired me on the walls. I have some great artworks, some great literary works, and just lots of great works. I like being surrounded by greatness. And this man never thought about that. He never thought of it like that. He always thought the white is just the white. That's just how it is. If you want to express yourself, you do it in your living, not trying to put stuff on the living. He never really thought of art as valuable. He thought the living was the valuable part. Anyway, she got him some tea, and some coffee. Put them both side by side, and some like biscuits, and also a sandwich. Just a sandwich, basic sandwich. They started talking about their lives. She talked about her experiences in London and why she moved over here. She moved over here because she had an inheritance. Her uncle actually died in America, and he had a big estate, and she took it over. And the man talked about his work, all of the tough days, but the toughness. He said he enjoyed it because it was tough, and he didn't really have much. It was sort of like what he did with his life, to count the hours and stuff like that. And the woman brought out a piece of paper, and she brought out some brushes and some paint, and she said, please paint. So the man grabbed a brush and started to draw a cave. Now, he had been in this cave so often that it was pretty much a visceral image. It was not something you just imagine and it comes in and out of existence like a thought or something. This was a very clear, crystal clear image. And this man, even though he had no artistic skills of merit, he drew that cave as if you could, lifelike qualities, as if you could step into that page, and you could walk into that cave. After about 15 minutes, you set the brushes down, and it was startlingly beautiful. The woman got up, took the paper, and where should I go with this story? I'm thinking either she could burn the paper or she could put it on the wall somewhere. But I'm not sure where I want to go with the story. Should we have a pleasant ending? How about this? She takes the paper. She says, "Please come with me." She motions him to sit on the couch. The fireplace has a raging inferno. She adds a few pieces of wood into it just to calm it down a little bit. There's a bunch of small sticks, so she adds some larger ones. And she takes out a baking tray. And there's a guide inside the furnace. She puts the paper on it, face down. Or face up. She puts the image face up. And she slides the tray in there and closes the furnace doors. You can still see through it because there's like a glass, clear sort of glass on it. With some metal, engravings, some metal railings. And you could see once that paper went in there, after about a minute, it started to play some Beethoven. But it was a little different because this paper has some ingrained qualities. Like it'll play some Beethoven when it's heated, but it'll also kind of mesh based on the artwork. So you can start to hear some music coming from this paper, and it also started to sculpt the image in 3D. So the mountain started to appear onto the in reality. The paper just boom spouted up in certain areas. The colors remained there, and became slowly modeled the actual picture in 3D. And the music started to change, became more industrial, less elegant. As we're modeling the ruggedness of the scene. And this man had no idea what he was seeing. He thought this was, I don't know, maybe he took some drug or something. This made him feel that there's going on like this. He was not sure what was going on. But at the end, the lady took out some oven mitts. The fire by then was completely out. It used up all the energy into converting this painting. She opened the doors, took out the tray, put it on the table in front of them. You could see the most elaborate 3D artwork that anyone has ever seen. She looked at the man and said, "I had been waiting 30 years for someone to paint something like you just did today. No one has been able to do it. No one has been able to capture the qualities of reality like you have. A lot of people, they paint representations of reality. They imbue it with their own ideas. But you, my sir, have painted pure reality. And because you have painted pure reality, you have allowed the expression of the arts to become, the art to grow. You've allowed the art to grow and become strong and to represent itself in 3D, three dimensions. You are the only person I know who has this ability. If you wish, you can always feel free to come by my house and paint some more, and we can see what you come up with. So the man left the house, went back to his place of dwelling, and washed up and just took a nap. He was tired from the experiences. He doesn't really like to go out of routine, but this whole experience was just sort of like a shock to his system, and he wasn't really sure how to comprehend it all. So he took a nap, woke up the next day, did his routine, went out the door, to go to work. There's a little wooden carrying, like a wooden basket with some ribbon, like a bow tie sort of ribbon as well on the top. And inside was the artwork that he had made previously. And she also included the soundtrack that played, as well as a video of its creation on a little hard drive or USB drive. And so he brought it in, and he was just fascinated by it, because when he's in the presence of someone else's house, he sort of stands off. He just sort of like relaxes, doesn't really engage with everything that's going on. And so when he had this piece of art in his possession, he really began to look at it and see the depths of it. And there was a little light shining from inside the cave of the drawing. And there was a little figure, like his little figure. And what he did was, he took the figure, like a little Lego man, and he walked it towards the light. He was touching it with his right hands, and he raised the right hand of the figure towards the light. And when it touched the light, he was immediately teleported into the art, into the scene. And in the scene, he could see all the paint as if he was in the painting. You could see all the paint, all of the details, very finely. Now, it was a very clear painting, but it was also just not clear enough with the paint and all that stuff that he could tell that this was not really the actual cave. And there's another light at the end, back where he came from, because he was deep in the tunnel at this point, and it was just a little pink light, very dim. So he walked towards that, he touched it, and he came back out of the art, and there he was, back in reality. But he noticed that now, not the stick figure, but the Lego sort of person, the mannequin of himself in the art, was looking at him with reaching his hand out towards the pink light out of the cave. So he had moved as that character. Alright, that's it. We're going to stop it there. This has gone on for too long. It's about 25 minutes. We're going to end this sermon. This is not really a sermon anymore. This became just sort of me, I don't know, going with whatever story I came up with. But whatever. We're going to go with it. So, that's it. We'll see you next time. Peace. Peace.